back Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt and Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, Chair of the House Judiciary Committee. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Senator Schmitt.
Good to be with you.
I don't know what the outcome is. Nobody knows what the outcome is. But my point about the coalition being frayed, hopelessly frayed, broken up. Trump is on offense. Kamala's on defense. I mean, those are sort of political generalizations. What do you think of them, sir?
Yeah, I think that through the leadership of President Trump, the Republican Party has become a multi-ethnic working class party. That's a good thing. That's helped disrupted the coalition that the Democrats have put together over the years. But more importantly, it's providing hope and opportunity to more people in this country, right? They look at the problems at the border. They look at high inflation. We didn't have those problems under President Trump. We do now. So President Trump has the ability to run on a record, regardless of all the scare tactics. And Kamala Harris is running away from her record. And so no matter what they throw at this guy, and they've thrown just about everything up against the wall here, and it'll probably get a little uglier in 2 weeks. When people go into that polling booth on Election Day, or even right now in some states, they're going to ask themselves, am I better off now than I was 4 years ago? And I think that's why in a change election cycle, President Trump is viewed as the change candidate and why he's doing so well in the polls.
Actually, it's interesting. Mr. Trump is now starting to go back to that language. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I think he just started saying it yesterday, the day before. Jim Jordan, welcome back, sir. It's always great to see you. I mean, you're in the industrial Midwest. You're both in the industrial Midwest. But the point is, I'm looking at all these union members, okay? We were on another show, another segment, and a UAW member is saying how Trump is going to carry 67% of the UAW. The Teamsters may not have actually endorsed from the top, but the reality is he's going to win big. In other words, one area the Democratic coalition is very badly frayed, I think, is in unions. Trump is going to win a huge volume of the union vote. Indeed, Trump might well carry the percentage, the plurality, the majority of the union vote.
Yeah, we're a new party under President Trump. This has happened over the last 8-9 years. We're now a populist party rooted in conservative principle. And that second part is really important. But President Trump has made that change for our party. And we're the party of common sense. The senator's exactly right. Larry, we're getting something we very seldom get in American politics. Back-to-back administrations now running for the top job. And you can do the direct comparison. You know, I say under President Trump, we had a secure border. Under Biden-Harris, no border. Under President Trump, we had safe streets. Under Biden-Harris, record crime. $2 gas to $4 gas. Stable prices, record inflation. A commander-in-chief who projected strength to Biden-Harris. So that people can see the direct comparison. And they remember with President Trump and your economic policies at the White House, wages were up for union workers, non-union workers, all workers. And that's what's sinking in with people. And again, we're now a populist party rooted in conservative principles, rooted in the Constitution, which, frankly, we always should have been.
You know, black and Hispanic wages went up a lot under Trump. They did not go up under Biden. They barely went up under Biden. Poverty fell. Yep. Poverty fell, Senator. Poverty fell significantly. Those are things that I think have a lot to do. It's not about blacks may not like to vote for a woman, as Obama said, suggesting misogyny. I don't think that has a thing to do with it. I think it has to do with the economy. I want to get to the culture in a moment. But when you look at these economic statistics, we just outlined a couple of them in the opening riff because there's too many to talk about. But the reality is unemployment went down. Poverty went down, take-home pay went up. That's very powerful stuff. That effect, I don't care what your color is. It's just a work. If you're working, those are the benchmarks. Those are the yardsticks. But the opportunities have not been there in the last 3.5, almost 4 years. That's a tell of this campaign, it seems to me. That's the reason that the Democratic coalition is falling apart, I should think.
Yeah, and there's two inescapable realities on that point. The first is every week when a family goes to a grocery store, whether it's mom or dad that's doing the shopping, they are hit with that sticker shock every single week, right? This is an ongoing crisis where it's harder and harder for families to make ends meet. And it's not like, you know, the inflation's not some act of God. There's a formula for it. It turns out when you spend a bunch of money you don't have and you declare a war on domestic energy production, the price of everything goes way up. And that's what we're seeing. The other one, Larry, that's true is the American people understand there's a lot of problems with the 10 to 15 million people that have come here illegally. It's a national security issue. We've seen waves of crime. You've got Venezuelan gangs now running apartment complexes, but it also undermines the wages of working class individuals, right? They see it in their communities. They know that people are being paid under the table. They know that they're not paying in, but they're collecting, in some instances, benefits of $130,000 a year in New York City. So people see it. They don't like it. And Democrats have embraced it as an election strategy, but it's just not working for real people.
Jim Jordan, on top of the economic stuff, you have the open border. We talked about it. You have the crime factor. Okay, I don't care who you are, white, black, brown, it doesn't matter. You don't like crime. You don't want your kids going to school in a high crime area. A lot of this crime has become random. A lot of it is imported from Venezuela and the south of the border. We all know that. Crime's I'm not going to say it's a sleeper, but I think crime is almost underrated. We always think of the election as the economy and the border, and okay. But going with that is the crime factor. And, regardless of the ABC News fact checkers or phony checkers, the reality is the FBI numbers show that violent crime has gone up significantly, Jim Jordan. That's got to be a factor in the breakup of this Democratic coalition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is, and I think as Senator Schmitt talks so much about the immigration and border security issue, as you mentioned, Larry, those two issues are coming together because some of these migrants coming. We had a hearing on this 4 weeks ago before we left town, where we had moms come in and talk about a migrant who came into this country and did something terrible to their son or their daughter. And it was a powerful hearing. So those two issues are coming together. Americans rightly understand you need a commander-in-chief who will secure the border. You need a government who will protect you from just rampant crime on the street, which we have seen increase over the last several years with these liberal policies and these DAs who won't prosecute the bad guys, won't go after them like they should. So I do think that's a key issue. And it's why President Trump is ticking up in every single poll, particularly the 7 swing state polls. And every data point is moving in his direction because the country has common sense and they've figured it out.
And, Senator Schmitt, I think the culture is playing a role. And I think there's a couple of very important parts of that. A lot of religious people, Christians, Catholics, others, have been mocked and insulted by Kamala Harris. By the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, and what she pulled with using a Dorito instead of a wafer for Holy Communion, not showing up at the Al Smith dinner here in New York, saying to the person that screamed out Jesus at one of the rallies, he was talking about Jesus, she said, "You're at the wrong rally." I mean, that stuff takes a toll. I think that, and I also think that a lot of traditional middle-class families, be they unions or whomever, be they Hispanics or whomever, guess what? They don't think that biological males should play in women's basketball or women's sports, I think these cultural issues are creeping under the door and they're rearing their heads, and as part of the breakup of the Democratic coalition.
Well, if you want to understand why states like Missouri and Ohio have become bright red from being blue or purple, I think these cultural issues have a lot to do with that. I'm Catholic. There's a large percentage of Catholics in Michigan, but Gretchen Whitmer had no problem of, making fun and ridiculing a holy sacrament. And this, by the way, is on the heels of Barack Obama claiming that, people in flyover country cling to guns or religion. I mean, there's just such a sort of a disdain for people who have faith. And that creeps into the psyche of voters. They just don't trust the Democrats that they're going to treat them fairly. And then when you have a Justice Department that's been fully weaponized against people they don't like because of their political views or the religious views, especially Catholics, they're just losing people. And so you add that on top of all of these things. It's why the Democrats are really desperate here the last 2 weeks.
Well, so when you add it up, Jim Jordan, I mean, the polls are not votes. I get all that. We've got 13 days to go. I get all that. But it is undeniable. Trump is on offense. Kamala's on defense.
Yeah.
Trump is encroached into the traditional Democratic coalition. I mean, he started this years ago. I think he's moving towards high tide. And I think I'm going to say something that's kind of goofy, but I think he's having more fun than she is. We've been talking about that. Yeah. I mean, he likes serving up French fries from McDonald's. He's having a lot more fun. I don't think Kamala's McDonald's having any darn fun at all. I feel for her. I feel her pain on the campaign trail. She doesn't look like a happy camper.
Yeah, it's definitely he's having more fun. That thing in McDonald's was unbelievable. I talked to him yesterday about it. Just unbelievable. I think it was one of the largest viewed things, Googled things ever. That's just President Trump. And we've all been around him. We know that's his personality. He engages with people. There's just this way about him that everyone, when you're around him, you like. And I wish everyone could spend time with him. But yeah, he's having fun. I think he knows he's going to win. You can feel it building. I like, because I think J.D. Vance said this in the debate. He said he'll take the common sense of the American people over the experts every time. And the common sense of the American people says, we like the guy who secured our border, gave us less crime, gave us increasing wages. We like that guy who kept us at stable prices, that guy who projected strength as commander-in-chief. We want that guy back in the Oval Office. And he understands it, and it's all starting to come forward. So 13 more days. Let's just keep working hard. I learned a long time ago, hard work doesn't guarantee success, but it sure improves your chances. So let's work hard for the next 13 days, and let's win. I
got one more for you. I've got to pitch it to Senator Schmitt. I heard that both of you fellas were up in arms that Lina Khan, the head of the Federal Trade Commission, was out there campaigning. And I wanted to ask you, I'll go to you, Senator Schmitt, why are you complaining? I think having Lina Khan out there is a tremendous plus for the Trump ticket and the Republican Party. She's a one-man wrecking crew, okay? She wants to basically she's a menace to American business. She's like the Liz Cheney of the FTC or something like. Listen to this. Under Lina Khan, I'm sorry, I don't know her first name, Lina Khan. Under her, Federal Trade Commission and the Justice Department, 43% of the S&P 500 market cap, almost half of the stock market cap, is now under Federal Trade Commission and Justice Department antitrust investigation. I mean, listen to this. It's a who's who of business. Bank of America, NVIDIA, Amazon, Meta, Google, Tesla, J.P. Morgan, MasterCard, Visa, Coca-Cola, Adobe. I mean, come on. She's a weapon. She's a menace. I unleash her. Put her out there, man. She'll turn off every person who's got a job in business anywhere in America. You're going after the wrong person.
You might be right, Larry. It does feel like the more they put their people out there, whether it's Tim Walz or Kamala Harris, who's now in kind of like this death loop, right? People don't know her, and then they push her out there, and the more she talks, the more people don't like her. So you might be onto something. I also follow up on something Jim said. I think the most important currency you can have in politics is authenticity. You can't fake it. People see a phony, and that's her biggest issue. President Trump actually likes McDonald's. I mean, I was with him in Butler, Pennsylvania. We had McDonald's on the plane afterwards. So this is part of, him doing that was real, and people can identify with that. When she goes out there and lies about her positions and just seems so fake and so phony, the American people are seeing it, and I think that's also something that's playing into the numbers.
I'll tell you, Kamala was on one of the liberal shows today talking about the need for more amnesty, as far as the open border goes. So she's playing her cards wrong anyway. But we've covered a lot of ground. Gentlemen, you're very, very kind to do this. Good luck on the campaign trail. Senator Eric Schmitt and Congressman Jim Jordan coming up here on